Amy Lynn Bradley. In March 1998, a 23-year-old woman from Virginia boarded a Royal Caribbean cruise ship called the Rhapsody of the Seas with her family for what was supposed to be a dream vacation through the Caribbean. On the night of March 23rd, Amy stayed up late dancing at the ship's nightclub with her brother and spent time with the members of the ship's band. Her keycard recorded her returning to the family cabin at 3:40 in the morning. Her father woke up a few hours later, around 5:30 a.m., and saw her asleep on the balcony. By 6 a.m., she was gone. Not just gone from the balcony, gone from the ship entirely. No one saw her leave, no one saw her fall, no camera caught her going overboard. She simply stopped existing on that ship between 5:30 and 6 in the morning while her family was a few feet away sleeping. What followed was one of the strangest missing persons cases ever recorded at sea. A Navy sailor later claimed he encountered Amy in a brothel in Curaçao. A tourist couple said they recognized her tattoos on the island. In 1999, a man claimed the woman matching her description approached him on a beach and whispered that she had been kidnapped and needed help, then was pulled away before she could say more. None of these leads ever produced her. The FBI investigated. America's Most Wanted featured her case. Her family offered a $250,000 reward. In 2025, a podcast host added $1 million to that reward. Amy Bradley has never been found. She would be 51 years old today. George Allen Smith IV. On July 5, 2005, a 26-year-old newlywed named George Smith disappeared from his honeymoon cruise in the Mediterranean. He and his wife Jennifer had been married just 11 days before boarding the Royal Caribbean ship Brilliance of the Seas for a 12-day trip through Greece and Turkey. The night he disappeared, George had been drinking heavily and gambling in the ship's casino with a group of men he had met on board. Witnesses reported hearing arguing on his balcony at some point during the night. What investigators found the next morning was hard to explain away. There was blood on the exterior of the ship directly below the cabin balcony, a significant amount of blood. The ship's awning below the balcony was stained. George was nowhere on the ship and nowhere in the water. His wife said she had no memory of the night due to the amount she had consumed. The cruise line stopped the search after a short time. The FBI investigated and eventually closed the case without determining what happened. No charges were ever filed. No body was ever recovered. The 4 men George had spent the evening with were never conclusively linked to anything. George Smith IV simply vanished on his honeymoon, and his family has spent 20 years without an answer. Marion Carver. The disappearance of Marion Carver is disturbing, not just because of the disappearance itself, but because of what the cruise line did after it. Marion was a 40-year-old investment banker and poet from Massachusetts who boarded the Celebrity Mercury cruise ship on August 27, 2004, for a 7-day trip from Seattle to Alaska. She disappeared the very next day. Her cabin steward noticed she was missing and reported it to his supervisor. His supervisor told him to do his job and forget about it. The ship continued along its planned route through Alaska. Marion never disembarked at any port. The cruise line made no announcement. No search was conducted. When the ship finally returned to Seattle, Marion's belongings were collected from her cabin. A crew member gave them away, not to her family, to charity. Weeks later, Marion's father called the cruise line to ask about his daughter. That is how he found out she had never left the ship and had simply vanished without anyone doing anything about it. Royal Caribbean, which owned Celebrity Cruises at the time, eventually said they believed she jumped overboard. Her father hired a private investigator who found nothing. No body, no evidence, no explanation for why a functioning adult with a job and a life and a return ticket home disappeared into the ocean while a cruise line quietly cleaned out her cabin and moved on. Rebecca Corium. Rebecca was 24 years old and working as a crew member on the Disney Wonder cruise ship when she disappeared on March 22, 2011. The ship was sailing off the coast of Mexico. Security cameras captured her in the early hours of the morning inside the crew lounge, on an internal phone, visibly upset. Another crew member passed by and asked if she was okay. She nodded. Then she hung up the phone and walked out of frame. That was the last confirmed image of Rebecca Corium that exists anywhere. No camera ever picked her up again. She was not found on the ship. She was not found in the water. The Disney Wonder was eventually searched thoroughly, and Rebecca was simply not there. Her family in the United Kingdom spent years pushing for answers and became increasingly frustrated by what they described as inconsistencies in how the case was handled. The phone call she was making has never been fully explained. Who she was talking to and what was said has never been publicly confirmed. Rebecca Corium disappeared from a Disney cruise ship in the middle of the Pacific and was never found. Christopher Caldwell. Christopher was a 36-year-old radio DJ from Virginia who was on a cruise to Mexico with his fiancée aboard the Carnival cruise ship Fascination in July 2004. The last night of the cruise, the couple had dinner with new friends they had made on board, and then visited several nightclubs. At some point in the evening, Christopher's fiancée and their new friends went back to their cabins, while Christopher decided to stay up and try the casino. He was last seen on the ship's deck at approximately 3:30 in the morning. When his fiancée woke up and found he wasn't in their cabin, she searched the ship. He wasn't anywhere. The ship had been heading back toward port. There was no disturbance reported. No one saw anything unusual. No one heard anything. A 36-year-old man on the last night of a vacation simply walked out onto a deck at 3:30 a.m. and was never seen again. His family said Christopher had no reason to disappear voluntarily. He had a career, a fiancée, a life he was returning to. What happened between him and the ocean that night has never been determined. Hugh Pham and Hugh Tran. This case is unusual because it involves two people disappearing at the same time. Hugh Pham and Hugh Tran were a married couple who had been together for 49 years. They were traveling on a Carnival cruise in May 2005 with their daughter and granddaughter, sailing between Barbados and Aruba. On May 12th, both of them disappeared, not separately, together, both gone from the same ship on the same night. A ship employee later found items belonging to both of them, their passports, their driver's licenses, their wallets with credit cards still inside, and their medication. Everything left behind. A search and rescue effort was launched, but called off in less than 13 hours. The couple were presumed dead. Their daughter and granddaughter were on the same ship. Whatever happened to a couple who had been married for nearly 5 decades happened quietly enough that nobody on a ship full of people saw anything. Ariel Marion. Ariel Marion was 21 years old when she disappeared from the Carnival Paradise cruise ship in 2006. The last night of the cruise, she had been at a party on the ship. At some point, she was separated from the people she had been with. A ship employee reported seeing her on an upper deck alone in the early morning hours. Then, nothing. A search was eventually launched, but Ariel was not found on the ship or in the surrounding water. What makes this case particularly troubling is the timeline of the official response. According to the U.S. Coast Guard's later report, a formal search did not begin until approximately 4 hours after the incident was first reported internally. 4 hours. In ocean conditions where survival time in the water is measured carefully, 4 hours is an enormous gap. Ariel Marion was never found. John Halford. John Halford was a British passenger who disappeared from a cruise ship as it was approaching Egypt in 1992. He was last seen by other passengers on the ship's deck. The ship was in the Mediterranean, nearing the Egyptian coast. He simply was not on the ship when it docked. No one reported seeing him fall. No alarm was raised while the ship was at sea. John Halford was reported missing after arrival and was never found. His case remains one of the earliest well-documented cruise ship disappearances and has never been resolved. Kevin McGrath. Kevin McGrath disappeared from a cruise ship in circumstances that investigators described as nearly impossible to explain. What made his case stand out from others was a specific detail. The ship he was on was equipped with motion sensors designed to detect man-overboard situations. Those sensors did not trigger. Either Kevin McGrath left the ship in a way that bypassed the sensor system entirely, or something about the circumstances of his disappearance didn't match the scenario investigators initially assumed. He was never found, and the question of how someone can vanish from a ship equipped with detection systems without those systems activating has never been satisfactorily answered.